Hello, everybody. Joined by the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers, Jason Kersner. Another edition of USHL in Focus. And Jason, happy you're joining us for this edition of USHL in Focus. And uh, appears to me like we're joining you at a good time. You're won your last three, and you've gone 7-2, 1-0 in your last 10, and sort of solidified your position behind Fargo there in the Western Conference. Talk a little bit about here through about a third of the season already, almost incredibly. Here we are, and what have you learned about your team so far through 21 games?
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time, and always happy to talk Musketeer hockey. So, yeah, it's been a pretty good start to our season so far. We have a long way to go, but we are starting to continue to grow and evolve it with our team play and our identity and how we want to play. And it's been good to get some wins along the way, but it's gonna. I mean, two things. One, the Western Conference is really tough. Obviously, Fargo is really good, but there's so many good teams. Tri-Cities, Sioux Falls, Waterloo, Des Moines. Everybody, there's really going to be no easy nights here in the Western Conference. And then obviously, the opportunity to play against some of the Eastern teams and some of the really good teams that we've played there. So we have our work cut out for us for the rest of the way, but we're continuing to just be focused on our process and our daily training environment and try to get better.
Like most teams trying to forge your identity, here it is still early in the season. You talked about the grind of the 62-game schedule you play in USHL. But one thing I have noticed is the power play, special teams, and the offense for Sioux City have been pretty good so far. I think you lead the USHL in power play percentage right now. Talk about the success that you've been having. Why are the Musketeers so successful on the power play so far here early in the season?
Well, first and foremost, we have some good players, so that helps more than anything else. But yeah, we had some success with it last year as well. We've just been able to we really try to spread the wealth on it, so we rely on both units, not a singular unit. So it's somewhere between 10 and 12 guys that really get good minutes, and we try to obviously situations. Circumstances dictate maybe how much each of those units play, but we really do try to split it and play 1 minute each out of them, with two kind of unique, different, structures and styles out of them. We try to make it, so the opponent will have to defend again, 10 different people in 10 different, in different looks and styles. But most importantly, really good players that can make some plays and shoot in the net when the time's right.
Well, let's talk about some of those players right now. One of the players on your team, Brian Nicholas, has been one of the guys on the power play. It's been key for you. He has 4 power play goals and ranks among the league leaders in that category. He's a third-year player and a veteran presence for a young team, right?
Yeah. So last year was my first year with Brian, and he, he's still, even though he's a veteran, he's only a 2005 birth year player, right? Yep. So, and last year was tougher for him, to be honest. He came in, he got off to a little bit of a slow start, then he got going and started playing well, and he broke his sternum, and he was out for a long stretch, and then kind of took some time to recover from that. And I thought towards the end of our season last year, he started playing really well and making an impact, but it was just a shortened kind of season that he's trying to really get going, and it was just kind of clunky like that, starting and stopping. And this year he came in, he was healthy, he was in great shape, and really you could tell right from preseason he was ready to kind of take that step from somebody that was on the team to somebody that was ready to make an impact on every shift that he's been out there. And he's been so valuable for us, obviously, like you said, scoring and offense and on the power play, but he's one of our top penalty killers too. So he really does, he takes big face-offs for us at different moments in the game. So, he really is kind of a Swiss Army knife for us, and we're glad to see, him being healthy and having the success that he's having so far this year.
Yeah, and obviously with the season that Caden Shahan has been having for you, not necessarily a breakout year. He did score 20 times for you last year, but he leads USHL in goals right now with 15 and named to the junior selects team. What can you say about the season that the second-year player Caden Shahan's been having for you.
Yeah, another second year, 2005 birth year, and just unbelievably impressive. I mean, like you said, he scored 20 last year, and this is the USHL. There's kind of a limit to how many goals you can score. So we knew he was ready, just like Brian, to kind of take that next step and impact the game even more. But how many goals could you realistically score in this league? And the pace that he's on right now is been amazing. So yeah, you know, obviously his ability to finish and shoot in the net's big, but just his competitive urgency and how he skates and impacts the game through his legs. He really does fit everything that we're trying to do here in Sioux City. And he's, again, just not just a 5-on-5 and a power play guy like Brian. He's a penalty killer for us too. So he's just another guy that impacts the game in so many different ways for us. Couldn't be happier for him to, you know, have the opportunity to represent, you know, USA and put that sweater on. He's really earned that. So it's been an impressive first third for him. And we hope when he gets back from that trip, he can continue scoring goals for us.
Yeah. And you talked about him playing in all situations. He does have a couple of shorties and then the opportunity to go up to Truro, Nova Scotia and get some additional experience there. People have taken notice of his play, and that's really cool to see. Defensively, you've got a nice group of guys along the blue line there. You and I were talking a little bit earlier about Sam Court, Ty Hansen, Finn Loftus, and some other players back there, but you've got a nice mix of offensive talent and defensive players for you as well along the blue line.
Yeah, for sure. You know, Ty and Finn are two guys that were on the team last year, right? So, and both of them, Ty is one of our captains and Finn is an assistant captain. So, again, two guys that have really taken a step with their play and how they impact, you know, our team. And obviously they both play on the power play and penalty kill. So those, again, are guys that eat a lot of minutes for us and play in a lot of different situations. But just as importantly for those two has been the step that they've taken, you know, off the ice with their maturity and now as captains and assistant captains and being a big part of our leadership group. So it's been fun to now kind of be back with these guys for a second year and watch them grow into their roles both on and off the ice. And Sam's a new player to us. You know, who came down from Canada and was kind of billed as an offensive defenseman, and he's delivered on that. So he's pretty dynamic. And again, another power play guy. He scored some big goals for us last weekend. You know, we were able to beat Omaha in our last game. He scored the game winner late. So just another really talented offensive defenseman to kind of fit into our group.
Numbers don't really reflect the contribution your goaltenders have made to the success you've had here early in the season. Samuel Urban and Jakub Kurbacek have been pretty solid. They've had their moments and really played a role in what you've been doing so far through the first 21 games, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have a good record. We've been able to win, and that's the most important guy. So, you know, this is, you know, I think as of late, if we just said their save percentage, some of those numbers have looked really good. If we looked in a kind of a smaller window, I think a little bit of a slower start because we really believe in both of them. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, their job is to go out there and win hockey games, and that's what they're doing for us. So we have the utmost confidence in both of those guys. Samuel was selected to play for his country as well, so we'll lose him for a little bit, and we'll rely on Jakub to go in there and play. But he played our last game in a 2-1 win against Omaha, played very well. Sam played the game before that, so we really do feel like we have two guys that we can count on and have done a great job for us early so far.
What would you like to see your team do better, Jason?
Well, I think like any coach, right? We're just looking for consistency on a day-to-day basis. But you know, the problem here is this league is just so hard, right? I mean, just on any given night, anybody can beat anybody. So, you know, we've been pleased with our growth through the first third, but we really do want to try to take that consistent step so we can be kind of the same opponent every single night and be tough to play against. We want to be a tough team to play against. And I think there's been a lot of times where we've done that, but for various reasons, you know, and sometimes you play poorly and win, right? So, you know, as a coach, you're just looking to try to get your team to play to the best of its ability every game, all 62 of them. And I still think we're a work in progress as we continue to grow and just try to be more consistent with our, you know, how hard we play, how fast we play, how relentless we are. We're taking good strides and we like our group and we have a lot of confidence, but we're still trying to raise our own internal standards on a day-to-day basis.
I wouldn't necessarily say that the Musketeers have their work cut out this weekend when you head up to Fargo for a couple games with the Force. You've been keeping pace with them over the last 10, but the reality is they've only lost twice. I think they've only lost, I don't think they've lost a regulation game at home. So in some respects, you do have your work cut out with you, I guess, heading up to face Fargo this weekend. What do you have to do to have some success against the Fargo Force this Friday and Saturday?
We definitely have our work cut out for us. So we've played them a bunch here. I think we've played them 4 times already. So this will be games 5 and 6. So we've got a pretty good look at them through, the first 20 games. And man, but just the utmost respect to everything that they got going on over there. First of all, just the talent and how deep they are up front, unbelievable decor, 2 great goalies. So the team's been really well built, and the utmost respect for their coaching staff. I really like the way they play. They have a very clear identity, and that's a team that I think for us right now is the gold standard. I think you consistently get the same thing on a Fargo every single night. So we played them. We did beat them in the last time here in a home game for us on Wednesday. I thought I thought we had a little bit of an energy advantage. They were coming off a long trip out to Plymouth and stuff, so I thought we were able to use that to our advantage. But I think through the first 4 games we played, and we learned a lot about them, how good they are, and what we need to do to be successful. I thought we made our guys made some nice adjustments and handled the last game that we played them well. Truthfully, the first 3 were very lopsided games. They weren't that close. So I do think we've taken some strides in understanding what it's going to take to beat the best team in the USHL by far. And we're excited to, kind of get the competitive juices flowing to take another crack at it. And it's going to be even harder playing at their rink. It's a great rink, and they have a great fan base, and it's going to make it that much more of a challenge. But we're up for it, and we're looking forward to seeing if we can kind of execute our game plan and at least keep it close late. Give us something.
Well, at the least, it'll be a great litmus test for you and your guys. I did want to ask you about Adam Johnson, former Musketeer player who died tragically a few weeks ago, and I thought the tribute that your organization did for Adam. Tell us a little bit about what Adam Johnson, what he meant and means to your organization, and your thoughts on what happened 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I personally never met him, but it's amazing just what an impact he had in his 2 years here, just on the community. Obviously it's just such a terrible story that went on, and the amount of support in the community here was just amazing. He was obviously, Jay Verity was coaching at the time. Luke Strand was the general manager, and I know those guys, and we have the same. So, you just had a lot of people that were kind of involved and listening to the stories, from billet families and from season ticket holders that were here. Obviously he was a really good player for the Musketeers and had a lot of success in his time here. But I think more importantly, the person that he was and the impact that he left on this small town. We're a small town, we're a small market. But we have just an amazing kind of community and fan base that cares a lot about this team. And to just see how much they loved that particular player. But again, I think that's what makes playing in Sioux City great is the unique bond that our players have with this community. And I just thought that was one of the biggest takeaways for me. The first and foremost was the tragedy and how terrible that a really good young man lost his life. But then secondly, just the gratitude and how lucky that we are to be a part of this community that cares so much about this team and the individual players.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to me. He's a guy I didn't know, but looking back at his background, obviously a Northern Minnesota high school player who played college hockey in nearby Duluth. Played in the USHL, so you got high school hockey, college hockey, you got junior hockey with his experience in the USHL. Pro hockey, worked his way up, all the way up to the NHL. So he played minor pro and then played NHL, and then obviously was in Europe. So he touched a lot of different places, and obviously a lot of people knew him. He cut a pretty wide swath in the hockey world, and the hockey community is a pretty special thing. And Sioux City in particular, what you have going there, you talked about the experience there. So I appreciate everything that you guys did for him, and it was nice to see you honor him at your game. Okay, so I really appreciate you joining us for this USHL in Focus, Jason. Wish you all the best. Good luck up with the trip up I-29. Travel safe on your way to Fargo this weekend. Good luck against the Force, okay?
We'll need it. I appreciate it. And thank you, Paul.
Thanks very much. You have a good weekend.